time to strap in and get ready. The leaders in NRL SuperCoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Mattrix, and Whisperer.
G'day guys, welcome back to the Insight NRL Show. Round 17 is finally here. Cheapies are starting to pop up. Coaches are making major changes. Injuries have hit and trades are running super low. Plenty to talk about tonight. I'm the SC Brain, joined by the SC Whisperer and the SC Mattrix. Matty, how are you, mate? We've been a little bit busy. It's the first time I think that we've ever gone into a live off the back of another podcast already. How'd you find buy, hold, sell?
Yeah, really good. Look, I'm finding it really hard whether to pick VJ Edgecombe or Ace Bailey first. That's a real struggle for me if I was in the front office. But it's really good to tackle that on some really hard topics.
Yes, very tough, that's for sure. Josh, how have you been, mate? You've been pretty set on your trades this week, you reckon, or is there still room?
No. I forgot I could do a certain trade. And shout out to Hindsight, who told me I could change my trades and do what I needed to do a week early. So I thought I was set, but no, we're definitely set now, which is great. And that's a great segue. I'll ask you how you are, but this is a great segue about my trades. Shout out to Yellow Duck, $10 off the bat. What a champion. Supporter of the Patreon, supporter of the show. Keep up the good work, lads. Always a brilliant podcast. That's a lie. Josh, loved your trade thoughts video, Wheels Up Trades video. Yeah, so for anyone that's watching over on the Patreon, I sat down for about 20 minutes and just sort of planned out my next month. Trying to convince the other two boys to do it. I think they will, which is great. I think it's just those videos are what our group chat looks like from Monday to Wednesday, just in a 15-minute video. Like what the three of us talk about. So they're solid videos.
We just need a man to do it too.
Literally, honestly. It's just solid videos, the three of us, like each going through our trades. But yeah, shout out Yellow Duck, mate. I'm good. How are you? How are you mainly?
Yeah, doing well. I'm doing well. I've, back to work. I'm still training every day. I've trained 38 days in a row at the moment. So I'm flying in the gym at the moment, which is nice. There's a bit of money up for grabs on a staff challenge at the moment. So, I want to try and win that so I can buy myself Rugby League 26 for free. That'd be nice.
You also need to win the money to sort of overcome the amount of income you're going to lose with the leave that you take when it runs out and how much we're going to play it. Because I'm taking way more leave than I already have to play this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be playing the shit out of that for sure. We'll probably be Twitch streaming as well, won't we? Playing together, so that'll be good fun. Guys, we'll rip into things. Please hit subscribe and hit the like button below. It does help us get out to more people, and leave a follow out and leave us a 5-star review if you're listening to us on audio. Matty, what are you sipping?
Well, so what I did was I ducked into my local BWS and I found a 6-pack of John Boston's Golden Ale for $14 today. And we all know that sometimes it's not what you spend, it's what you save. It is described on the packet as smooth and biscuity. And you know what? I'm a bit of an Arnott's fan myself.
Yeah, right. I don't think I'd buy a biscuit beer, personally, but each to their own.
I am not chewing on it. I'll tell you that for free.
Very good. On today's show, guys, we've got a bit to get through. We'll talk about the squeeze of the week. That is the top scorer in the Unlimited League. We'll also give you our best Fletcher Sharp replacements. We'll have a chat about centre wing and 2RF and give you our thoughts on what to do there. We'll also give you our thoughts on popular cheapies in Karapani, Latu Fainu, Jed Stewart, and others. We'll talk through the schedule for the run home as well. So we've put together a brand new graphic based on strength of schedule. I forgot to upload it as I've said that, so I'll do it while someone else is talking. And we'll go through the teams to target for the run home from now all the way through to into head-to-head finals territory as well. And, of course, we're going to assess the trade trends, the most bought and sold, the top 10, and Captain's Corner. So plenty to touch on. Matty, I'll throw over to you, mate. Who won the squeeze of the week this week?
Well, as you know, because I do the notes every week, the top scorer in round 16 was Terry, coach of Canterbury Critters, with a 15.29, and he had the captaincy on 20. And do you want to know what his huge pod play was? AJ. So that was a huge play from the Canterbury Critters. I didn't have it on my
captaincy on.
Oh no,
Teddy.
he had the cat.
Teddy.
You said 20.
I was like, did he captain? Did he captain JC?
Number 20. Yes, that come in for the Roosters. Yeah, no, Teddy. And a huge pod play of AJ to go with all the regulars. Harry, coach of 5 Pete, jumps into first in the league overall, currently sitting on 10. So he's on fire, and as always, you can use the code IFS2025 to get 15% off everything in the score. Actually, that's really exciting because I think they have 40% off everything at the moment. So maybe just use their code this week. It's great stuff.
It is. We're very lucky. So their end of financial year sale, I think they're being pretty generous. So you'll be able to find some discounts over on their store. It was running, I think, yesterday from 4 to 8 p.m. So, you might be able to jag some extra stuff before they run out of stock. So shout out to the Standard Squeeze. Thank you for sponsoring the show, as always. Guys, we've got a fair few hot topics to have a chat about. So let's get into that. All right. Now, obviously, for anybody who missed the ins and outs, you can go and check out the TLT episode on YouTube. It came out about 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, talking who's in, who's out for the week. But there are 2 teams that have made some big changes. Shout out to Toddy P and Tony S. That doesn't really roll off the tongue as well. Yeah, Tony Siebes. Let's go Tony Siebes. Big changes at Manly. Turbo to centre. Lehigh Hopewadi gets onto the wing. At fullback, and Ruben Garrick goes to the right wing. Turbo right centre. Winners and losers. Let's talk about this. How do you think Turbo's going to go at centre, Josh? Output wise, for anybody who may have held him up until this point, hoping they can get 2021 Turbo back, how do you see this affecting him?
I'm not even sure this is the biggest news out of Manly. Like, I think you're forgetting Jazz Tavanga is now the 9th. That's big news in itself. It's gross. Look. I have some shit opinions. I have some good opinions. Try not to delve on the shit opinions too much, but I will delve on telling you all to buy Turbo about 5 weeks ago. Insert the Pat Riley, maybe I am washed meme. That was me suggesting buying Turbo. So
we all did it too. All of us. Even Aman jumped on. All 4 of us did it. So, we had fun.
Maybe I am washed. Yeah, look, it's not ideal. If you own Turbo, I'd be definitely selling. If you own Garrick, I don't know how I feel about owning Garrick. Because it's a position we've never seen him in before, if I'm not mistaken. We've seen him at left wing. We've seen him at right centre. We've seen him at fullback. We may have seen him at left centre. I think
he's been at left centre too, yeah.
Probably. No, we haven't seen him at right centre. On right wing, sorry. Yeah, really keen. I'm never against owning a winger goal kicker, so that's going to be fine. But Lehigh Hopewadi is the big one. So, shameless plug, go check out the Patreon, buy, hold, and sell. But basically, like, if you own him, what a gift! Like, you've held him through the try, no try, HIA, and now you've got him at fullback, which is unreal. I can't go out and buy him though. I just don't think I can. I just think it's too risky. A lot of chat around short-term play. So. Yeah, it's a no from me, dog. As the great, no, it's not Samuel L. Jackson. Randy Jackson. I think it's Randy Jackson.
Yeah, it's
a no from me, dog.
Fair, Matty. Any opinions here on how Manly are going to go with these changes, and whether anybody? I mean, I guess the question becomes: if you don't have Lehigh, would you buy him? And if you don't have Ruben Garrick for some reason, I think he's 92.9% owned in the top teams at the moment. So if you're in the small minority that doesn't have him, is he buyable now?
Oh, on the wing, Ruben Garrick is vice-captainable if you wanted to make vice-captain into a verb. But Lehigh Hopewadi, I'm just super scared that it is a couple-week experiment or Siebes gets sacked and then they make Turbo fullback again because he's their star player. Do I like Lehigh Hopewadi at the back? Yeah, of course I do. Do I want to own Lehigh Hopewadi on the back? Yeah, of course I do. I'm just super scared that this is a few-week play. You can't own Turbo, even 400 and I don't even know how much he is anymore. I try not to look at Turbo in SuperCoach anymore. Yeah, like even 480k Turbo, I don't want to own him there. I am marginally concerned that to try and keep him happy, that maybe they go towards Turbo in the centres to get him more involved more and go that way more than Ruben Garrick's side, which of course we know is the other side. I'm a bit concerned about that, but am I concerned enough not to vice captain him? No.
I just feel like the ball's going to be in DCE's hand on the right edge. I mean, no Hamoli, sure. Corey Waddell isn't exactly Hamoli, but when you've got DCE, Turbo, Garrick on one side, and then who have you got on the other side? Sorry, checks notes. Luke Brooks, Tolu Kola, and Tommy Talia. So I think I know which way I'm going. And also, they'll be attacking, checks notes, Adam Dwayhe. I think I know which way they're going to be running.
I feel like one thing that's being very much overlooked this week is this year is the year of what ifs. We were Trell one game away from centre wing. We were Trell one game away from 5'8". We're now going to be like 2 games away from Turbo centre wing. Oh, man. Feels
Not
bad.
going to happen next year. You've got to play 3 games in position, don't you, before round 18, so no luck. Before we talk about the Cowboys, Hamo asked me a question to put in our subscriber Q&A and I forgot, and he was very upset about it, so he wants to ask tonight, and he's donated his hard-earned money to remind me to do this. The question is, would you rather have lightly toasted bread, like a 1 on the toaster, or like a tiny amount of milk in your cereal, like a shot glass of milk in the cereal for the rest of your life? You have to choose one.
For the rest of your life?
For the rest of your life. Would you rather have a shot glass of milk in your cereal or a 1 on the toaster toast?
No, that's great.
For the rest
That's
of your life?
crazy because a 1 on the toast feels like it's like stale. See, I'm like a 6 on this toaster. I'm like a black guy, but I'm also like a really milky guy. So it's like oh god. Oh fuck. I think I eat so much toast. I think I'd forego the bread. I can't have like shot glass cereal. That's crazy.
Nah, neither. Not a chance.
No.
I mean, that's like just having hard, crunchy cereal for the rest of your life. Like
Just raw dog and the Cocoa Pops is great.
Nah. I'm happy to give away the milk. Matty's ready here. He's got
Guys,
something for us.
this is the kind of question that I was born for. So do you want to know the thing that's most important about the toast? And when you put it on the toaster, when you put it on one, that is blasphemy. Because wait, it's so exciting to get your toast back out again and then have your butter melt. Like, honestly, it's not even about the crispiness of the toast. It's about how hot it is and making sure that it melts.
Okay,
and I tell you what,
tomorrow morning, I want you to get 4 wheat bix out and then just chew those things fucking raw.
Do it.
Yeah, but it's not about the wheat bix. I tell you what, there's so many other cereals. Have you ever sat there and just eaten Nutri-Grain? It's delicious. I don't care if there's a fucking thimble of milk in there. I will eat the shit out of that. I will eat my Cocoa Pops like that. I will eat Frosties. I'll eat Honey Smacks. You know what? I will probably eat my wheat bix with a little bit of honey on it with the thimble of milk, and I'll be completely fine.
Hang on. This is even more fucking crazy. Ange in the chat says, just add water. That is the most... I can boot Whisperer from this chat, but I can't boot you, Ange, and I'd love to right now. I would rather eat wheat bix raw than with water.
Yellow Duck might have broken the algorithm a little bit here by saying just toast it at 1 over and over and over again until you get it to the point where you want it, which is probably like what I'd do.
Half an hour in the morning. It's about convenience.
Mate, okay, all right. What we have to do then...
Hang on. Do you want to know what one toast feels like? You know when you go to a hotel and you put it through that shitty fucking roller toaster thing, but you got to put it through like 4 times to get any kind of level of toast?
Yep. I'm not a dark toast guy. I'm a light toast guy. So, Matty, you're saying that you would rather... Are you answering this saying that you would rather have a shot glass of cereal on your... a shot glass of milk on your cereal for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Oh,
I think
100%.
So we need proof.
I need the butter to melt.
We need proof of this then.
It might be too late, but we should have... If this question should have come in round 1, because we should have done a punishment end of season. Whoever comes last in rank has to do that for like a week.
Oh,
you gotta have cereal every day. You can't skip it. Like you can't be like, oh, today I'm not gonna feel like having crunchy nut. No, you've got to commit every day.
So I tried with you guys the punishment thing. Remember, go back and watch our buy round.
Listen to this punishment that he wanted us to do, though. He was saying we should go for a fucking 6K run, and every K you had to scull a beer. That was his punishment. It was like the typical Mattrix punishment involving beer. But
honestly, also Ryan Hammond saying, "Josh, I'm a black guy, but I'm also a very milky guy." I don't think that's probably me as an Indigenous man summed up the most. That's just black, but very white. I'm not running 6Ks. If there was a thing chasing me, there's not a chance.
No, not doing 6K.
If we made it into content, it'd take like 7 hours of filming for me to get through 6Ks.
And Kaz in the chat saying Mattrix intentionally losing so he can drink beers.
I wanted to get one of those like camel back things, except like the thing just went straight into like a Carlton Dry, and I'm like running along.
Yeah, 100%.
Mattrix goes, "Hey guys, just hypothetically, what if we lost and you had to run with a keg and drink at the same time, and then Mattrix becomes 40,000 unironically?" Also,
for some reason, over the next month, Mattrix just double trades in nuffs into his team. We're like, what are you doing? Why are you double nuffs? Oh, and he's got like fucking 8 playable players in round 24. Oh, what a shame.
I guess I lost.
Oh, fuck. This has just gone in a complete...
I came 30,000. Oh, what a shame.
This whole show has just gone completely off the rails, and that's exactly why you watch us. And you don't...
That's why I'm 18,000th at the moment, guys. That's why.
For the beers. That's what it is. All right, let's get back on track. Let's talk about the Cowboys. I would imagine Todd Payton would have more than a shot glass of milk on his cereal after making these changes. He's brought in the winner, the Red Dog, Clifford, back into his team, which, correct me if I'm wrong here, Josh, they had more than 65% win rate when Clifford was in the team as opposed to not?
So I believe it's 1 win, 5 losses without Clifford. 4 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw with Clifford. So I'll be definitely on the Clifford bandwagon this weekend.
Great for Drinky, I think, is probably the biggest winner out of this, considering Drinky was the one that's had those 3 tons in a row when Clifford was in the team, and then Clifford got dropped, and miraculously, Drinky turned to shit for a couple of weeks. So I think Drinky's the big winner. Matty, we'll talk about it in Captain's Corner a little bit more at the end of the show, but you were pretty keen in that area on potentially having an armband on him. It would be orange, considering he's playing the last game of the round.
Yeah, and he's just good with Clifford. I'm holding on to this guy, hoping that he comes back into some form. Played dog shit last week, scored 70. I don't think if you're keeping him, you can overlook this matchup. And Clifford, the big red dog, getting back involved is only good for him. So
86.1 with Clifford, 66.1 without. So 20-point swing.
Huge. I'm so disappointed I missed that on the drink water reference coming into that off the back of the milk. So, yeah, no, I'll be better. I'll be better next time. 100% agree. I think obviously from a Supercoach perspective, Jackson Purdue probably benefits a little bit as well. I feel like his scoring, he had 1 good score at 5'8". The rest of his good scores have come from centre. So if you're one of the 3 people that managed to hold Purdue up until now, or you haven't really been paying attention and you're thinking maybe I'll trade him this week to get these guys in, or you've got him in draft, it's a big... Actually, I do have him in draft. So that's a big up for Purdue, I think, for sure. Any other things to mention on Cowboys? No, I don't think so. Let's have a chat about Fletcher Sharp replacements. Obviously, this is a pretty big talking point because there's a lot of centre wings up for grabs this week. I guess we're going to talk about the most bought and sold players later, but Jacob Carraz is near the top of the list. Second most purchased player behind Karapani this week. So these 2 guys, obviously pretty popular Fletcher Sharp replacements, Mattrix. 38% of people purchasing Carraz, 41% of people purchasing Karapani. Can you go wrong with either of those guys? And in which scenario would you go with one over the other?
In the scenario that I own Carraz, I would go Karapani. I just have to make sure that you're spending that money effectively elsewhere. I've seen lots of people messaging me, loading up and getting in their opinion, a gun 5/8 or a gun hooker with the money they're making trading down to Karapani. Don't do that. So have a look at your team and remember you only have to pay 17 players every week. Now with the buys, towards the back end of the year. And I think we're trading for the back end of the year now. Yeah, you might have one bad week when it comes to Origin, but I think we're trading for the back end of the year now. And can you see yourself playing Blake Brayley and Harry Grant, for example? Or see yourself playing, whatever, Gunn 5'8" and Cameron Munster every week? And if the answer's no, which it is for me, because we're gifted with high upside fullbacks, high upside second row forwards, heck, even high upside front row forwards this year, I just think you're better off just going to somebody else for Fletcher Sharp than Josiah Karapani. But Karaz is, dare I use the term, must-own loosely?
More people are doing Sharp to Karapani than Sharp to Karaz, which seems insane to me. And it's nearly double. It's like 8,100 versus 4,300.
For me, that's the Sharp to Karaz. Surely the people buying Karapani just already have Karaz. That has to be the only reason that you would go with him over Karaz.
These Karapani numbers, like I'm looking at top 10% right now, and I look at like the round ownership change, and Karapani's at like 50%. That's like must-have territory, and I don't think he is. I think he's a great buy if you've got the trades, but I don't think he's like this like essential must-have.
No, there's scenarios, and I think we talked about it in the buy, hold, and sell that we just recorded for Patreon. We'll double up here because it is a pretty important point. But I think there's scenarios where you wouldn't buy Karapani, and I think that scenario is one that I'm in at the moment, where I've got Nathan Lawson sitting there dead, and I also have Billy Smith. So,
isn't it funny? Like I think back to round 3 when we were like, "Oh, we're all buying Jesse Arthurs," and a few people were like, "Oh, why?" Do you think if Josiah Karapani's name was John Smith, he'd be this traded? I think it's because his name's like kind of exotic. If his name was Jesse Arthurs, people would be like, it's like the English soccer. There's like a thing. It's like, oh, if he was Spanish, he'd be sold for like 150 million. But if he's English, he'd be sold for 150 million. But if he's Spanish, it's like 30 million. I feel like if Jesse Arthurs was 290k, like let's say Jesse Arthurs started the season like house on fire. He went to shit for a bit, bottomed out at 290, and then had a break even minus 85. I don't think he's this highly bought.
I don't give a fuck if his name's John Doe. Anyone with minus 85 break even, I'm looking at. I don't care what your name is.
But I generally don't think, like, if Jesse Arthurs had the rise and then the fall back to 290 and had a minus 85 break even, I don't think people would go there again as much as they are now.
Not on the right wing, hey, Mattrix?
Not on the right wing. I'm trading him out. But look, there is a certain level of aura when it comes to one Jesse Arthurs. I am not feeling the same level of aura from Josiah Karapani.
Oh, that's a bit rough. A bit stiff
No,
on Josiah Karapani.
Is there anyone that's got the aura of, like, the frosted tips?
What about your boy in the one jersey?
Oh, he's got aura.
Yeah.
There is some aura coming from the Broncos. There's not some, good football, but there's some aura.
Yeah, there is. If you guys had Herbie Farnworth, you'd have the fucking best looking team ever in sporting history, for sure.
Wow, that's correct.
You would. I didn't dye my hair black, Pierce. No, it must be just the lighting or something. I absolutely didn't.
We're actually sponsored by hair replacement plugs. Starting for next week, Pierce. So he's hit his appointment first. Josh is heading this week, and I'm just getting a perm. So.
Yeah, he's already had it done, as you can see. Viliami Kickau obviously is a big talking point here, as well as a replacement. With Dylan Lucas being at 2RF, you can shift him down to centre and buy a 2RF. Kickau being a pretty popular option, purchase option this week. What are your thoughts here, Matty, on Kickau? Bases up, BP's up. Bulldogs have a left side preference.
Maybe. Look, I get it. I'm not doing it, and I haven't been as excited. But maybe I haven't been as excited to trade out my guys at 2RF. And my guys aren't injured this week, so I won't be going there. I get the appeal. Bulldogs are humming, much the same as our boy Karaz. But just if he does start banging out, the 50s that we've seen for the last 5 years, are you just going to trade him back out again. I'm not excited for that.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same. I mean, look, I'm more keen now. I think we talked about it in the buy, hold, sell as well. It's like your first, the stages of acceptance is always rejection to start, and then you work your way through it. And I think I'm at the point where I can accept that as a purchase now for Kickau. I know Josh is pretty happy with me now. That I can say that Kickau is a relevant option this week. But I guess, you're probably looking to maintain that high upside at centre wing. I just don't know whether Kickau's got that massive score in him. He's just been solid this year and the BP's up. But for me, I'd probably look at a high upside centre wing. And I guess you've got two options here when we talk about Manly in Garrick and Hopewadi as replacements potentially for Fletcher Sharp. Garrick, if you don't have him for some reason, first of all, give yourself an uppercut. Secondly, just buy him this week because being on the wing, the upside in scoring is enormous for Garrick, especially up against the Tigers. He's running at that Skelton Dewey edge, which is incredibly appealing to a point where I'm probably going to look at VCing him or Hopewadi this week. Matty, obviously most people have Garrick, but we spoke about Hopewadi before. Probably not a purchase. I think we got to the conclusion.
I'm just super scared that Turbo goes back to the wing. And sorry, Anthony's up. I'm wrong. I'll give you that one. But Lehigh Hopewadi, I just can't get past the fact that this is Seabolt rolling the dice on an injured Turbo. And if he does spend a few weeks at centers and he starts finding some form, that he won't just be moved back to fullback. Or maybe they keep losing and Siebes goes back to fullback. And what would be your first assignment if you went into Manly? Would it be to play maybe one of the best fullbacks in the game at fullback? Probably.
You'd have to. Yeah, of course. It looks like he's trying to save his job, though. So let's see what this free swing does for Seabold and for Manly, because they've been battling up until now.
What do you mean? Didn't you hear? Manly CEO
he's got the
said
full
that,
support of the board, doesn't he?
Yeah, Manly CEO said that they're fine. Everything's
so he's got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh, there's a certain Roosters winger that could be worth waiting for, you reckon?
Dom Young went to the Knights.
Oh, sorry. No. What about the other one?
Oh, Junior, not
Daniel,
Junior.
Daniel Tupou.
No. Junior Pauga.
Oh, yeah, that's him. He was fantastic. Remember when Matt Ikuvalu scored 4 tries for the Roosters, just filling in randomly for one game? That was elite.
No, it was Ryan Hall. Where he played like 11 games for the Chooks and scored no tries. No, it's Mark Nongatawaze. Like, do you think if you already have Karaz, is it a hot take to say that I'd prefer Mark over Lehigh over Garrick?
Oh, I think
no.
I think Garrick before Mark.
Okay, interesting.
But I'm high on Mark. He was on my pod list last week.
Okay. So Garrick over Mark. Is that because Mark's on the bye this week? Because they play the same amount of games between like now and round 20, for example. Because
I don't
obviously
care about that.
Garrick's got the bye. Interesting.
I just feel like
I own Garrick, so I'm happy.
I just feel like Garrick has that 140, 150 score in him. I don't know whether Mark does.
Yeah, true.
You know, like,
I guess, yeah, that's true.
He's a weekly winner type guy. If you play SuperCoach just to try and snag a couple of grand or something from SuperCoach by winning the week, you go with Garrick for sure. But there's an argument there where you could say that Mark could out average him by the end of the season potentially.
Garrick's
Roosters
cheaper.
have a really tough run home though, to be fair.
Yeah. I think Mark could be the guy. I probably do agree that Garrick is the better option, but 136 last week for Mark. Can go big.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, you're right. Like the run home is not ideal. Like you're looking at your finals matchups. Dolphins, Dogs, Para, Melbourne, and Melbourne's in Melbourne. If you're an overall player, South in round 27 is always nice. Tigers, Dragons, Sharks next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I would probably side with Garrick, but Mark could be Mark's not owned by 92% of people in the top 10%. So that could be the deal breaker.
No, it's about 16%, I think, Matty.
Yeah, I was actually thinking this the whole time you guys were speaking. So thanks, Yellow Duck, for saying imagine if...
Remember when Teddy had the goal kicking and Harry Grant and Kevin Munster, and we're like, "Oh fuck, how good is this?" And then like they kicked it like 30%.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yep.
Michael's spot on. He just scored 136, and I said he has no upside, so feel free to rip in there. Cheapies for round 17 is the next conversation. We need to downgrade somewhere. Karapani's the obvious one, minus 85 break even, 290. Sagranis and Lawson dropped is the bigger kick in the dick, I think, for me. Sagranis would have been a nice little option there, I think, next week if he was managing to hold on to centre. But there is still every chance, Matty, that he could hold on to centre with Val Holmes in Origin 3.
Is that enough to? I mean, he is the perfect enough if it's like, yeah, if you really need the number. I'm just not sure, like, with the teams that are out in that week, we really need that enough. But hey, he could just jag a heap of points and be the difference between a win or a loss that week.
I'd certainly rather Stronganis over Jed Stewart.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, the other guy on the list. He's not going to make you any money this week. It's his second game. But yeah, what was it, Josh? 41 with a 31-point play?
41 with a 31-point play. So 10 VP across 80 minutes. Shout out to Jed Stewart. And the people might be sitting there being like, why would you rather Stronganis who's not named? Precisely the reason. So for anyone first time playing or played for a couple of years but given up halfway through the season, this is the point where we will start to refer to buying nuffs, and that's deliberately buying players that aren't going to play. I'd much rather have Strangana score 0 for me in round 21 than Jed Stewart score 13, because it really just hinders your ability to loop. I think in my final team, like my lowest scoring player is going to be Latufenu, which is quite good. I'm not going to have like a Hamish Stewart or a Jed or a Jed Stewart. It just must be the Stewart curse. Stronganis this week. I'd only buy him this week if you didn't really need the number. Like if you're hedging your bet on him to be named next week, I probably wouldn't. But I'd also probably rather a dual over him, like a dual nuff, like an Ethan Roberts type. But like, yeah, if you're happy to take a swing as like your 2RF6, he doesn't get named. If he gets named, cool. You got a number for a week.
I think, and this is a direction I'm looking at going this week potentially. If I don't go with my very, very pod route that I spoke about in the buy, hold, sell at the end, I think that there's ability there to go with Kalani going at 2RF if you've got Sandon Smith at hooker 2 potentially. So I've got Brayley and Sandon Smith at hooker at the moment. I could nuff and get going. It kind of works out, and get going at 2RF. And then obviously if I want to sell Sandon Smith to a Gus Crichton or a 2RF when Sandon Smith's pretty much done after, I think, round 18, if Sam Walker's back 19, I can just do Sandon Smith to a gun 2RF and going can go up to hooker. So that's probably where my head's at with that. I'd probably rather him than Sagranis because I don't need the number for 18 or 19. I'm not worried about that.
I will say if you are in Braino's camp and you're on the going and Brayley standpoint, probably I would prefer Watson over Crichton, only because in round 25 you're going to have no hooker, and that's a pretty crucial week for head-to-heads, and you're going to have the ability to bring going down and Watson up. So that's just where I'm thinking. So have a look in future, but yeah, going could be quite key for your Watson owners down the line.
For sure. Good shout. Latu Fainu, Mattrix, you're not the Tigers fan, so it's better to get your view on this one. We're a little bit biased because we've had Latu Fainu since like round 8, so you probably shouldn't ask us. What are your thoughts on him? Minus 11 break even, 289K, starting in the 7 this week.
I think a situation where you have an Adam Dewey, where you have a situation where you can move somebody up and down and play him as your 5'8" is completely fine. I posed to you guys earlier, like with like somebody like Karapani, what's the difference? And what was said was 5'8", and that's cool because 5'8" has been a bit of a wasteland. Like we're talking about Campbell being somebody that's out for a couple weeks. If you feel the need to trade him out, Latu Fainu is completely fine. You're probably not going to trade him out at all. You're just going to leave him there. And I don't think he's going to be a AE nightmare. So, hey, Latu Fainu, wheels up if you're not going double gun 5'8", which I don't think you need to. with like the names that are good at 5'8", it's like Cam Munster, Jaden Campbell, Luke Metcalf, and Daylight, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I think, I 100% agree with you. I think it's Dewey down to Fainu perfectly frees up cash. I think if you got Jaden Campbell, you'd potentially hold Jaden Campbell for that period of time. I just don't know whether it's worth the trade out when you've got probably a top 258 in your team. But yeah, if you can free up money with Latu Fainu, I'd probably, Josh, we had this conversation about half an hour ago. Potentially Latu Fainu could be a better downgrade trade option than Karapani.
Yeah, just purely down to positional value. Like, who's going to make the most money? Karapani. Who's going to get more spotlight? Karapani. But I just think because how dead 5'8" is, and the fact that it's a position where if your starter is on a bye or you're like center wing, right? You get one injury. Oh, cool. You got 3 bench covers. Like, you only got one. So having a guy like Latu who's locked into a role for at least 4 weeks, I'm confident it's going to be this season. But yeah, like I just prefer Latu over Karapani personally.
For sure. Jacob Laban, I guess the last talking point, minus 17 break even, 294K. So he's at the same price point as Fainu and Karapani. It's just the job security for me that's probably the main thing. I mean, Kurt Capewell is back in the team, back on an edge. Halasim is the one that's dropped back to the bench, which really surprised me. I thought he'd be starting and Laban would be back on the bench. I don't think I could go there, but I tell you what, like this could honestly be the situation where we look back at it at the end of the year and go, Laban was the one we should have got on. Where he's at right now, where he holds onto that spot for the rest of the year somehow. What do you think, Josh? Laban, quality player, just maybe job security an issue?
Yeah, like, it's just, it's tough. Like, there's so many moving parts for Laban. 294 does have a good break even. I feel like didn't we have this discussion with Halasim like 3 weeks ago, and we were pretty much keen to not go him. He's had one game this year where he's got over 70 minutes, which was last week. Like, we thought this was Halasima's spot. Who knows? Like, we thought it was going to be Jackson Ford. Maybe he plays in the middle, but it's like, it's just, yeah. I don't want to be taking speculation trades because if he doesn't get the role, 19, 29, 24, 12. Like, these are scores he's putting up. And I'm like, it's why I'm not buying Jed Stewart. If I wanted to buy a plotter with shit job security, no, not job security. If I wanted to buy a plotter with like up and down work rate, I'd just buy Jed Stewart.
Yeah, very fair. Very fair. I think Karapani and Fainu are the two options there if you want to go in that direction, or you can nuff with someone like a Going. Or if you need the player for 18, I think you can grab Sagranas. Let's move on to best schedules for the run home. We'll break this up into 2 parts because obviously people are still going to want to get a leg up for the rest of the buys. So we'll talk about 17 to 22, and then we'll talk about head-to-head period of finals being 23 to 26/27, depending on how your league is structured. Whoever, if you have a grand final in round 27, fire your commissioner and leave the league. It should be 26, so make sure you check your settings there on your head-to-head finals. But we've redone the graphic, guys. You'll see it on the screen there of strength of schedule. You can get this one, or if you want to screenshot that right now, you can. Otherwise, it's on our socials on Insight NRL Instagram, so you can grab it there. But you'll see there, obviously, red is a tough matchup. Orange is an average matchup. Light green, again, more on the favourable side. And then the dark green are the guys that you definitely want to be targeting, those matchups being North Queensland, the Gold Coast Titans, and Souths. So, boys, I guess the first part of it is round 17 to 22. The big appeal leading into head-to-head finals. So if you're a head-to-head player and you're outside of the top 8 right now and you need to try and make a run, it's probably better to be targeting these early guys and not really worrying too much about round 23 to 26, right, Matty?
Yeah, 100%. I do think you need to make a move now just to shore some things up. And you're going to find some teams with some complacency. You're going to find some teams in your head-to-head comps that aren't checking their teams, that aren't looking at Team List Tuesday. So this is your time to move. And there's a few really good SuperCoach options in these teams we're going to talk over the next little period. So,
Josh, it's Penrith at the top of the list for me. I think when you bring up the graph here on the screen, Penrith have a really nice run. Now, obviously, Bulldogs into the bye isn't exactly fantastic, but I'd like to think that most people have been able to structure their side so that they can cover 18. But then they come into 19 against Para, 20 against Souths, 21 against the Tigers, 22 against the Titans, 23 against the Knights. I don't know whether you can find a better run in the comp than that for one of a team that has a lot to play for this year. Usually they wouldn't. Usually they'd be cruising right now, but they've got plenty to play for, sitting in, I think it's 8th right now.
Yeah, I think factor that in as well. Like, if Penrith were in first, then you're like, foot off the gas a little bit. But I think like they generally need to play a lot of their guys. So yeah, keen on them, keen on the Titans as well. Not that they've got many assets, just looking from a draw standpoint. Cowboys this week, bye into Broncos, Tigers, Warriors, Penrith, into South as well. So it extends on to the Sharks and the New Zealand Warriors as well. So they could be a team like a player like JC or Tino if he's bottomed out, Beau Fermor as well. And also want to just highlight the Tigers here as well. Manly, the Roosters, the Warriors, the Titans, Penrith from 17 to 21 as well. So they're probably the three that stand out to me. What about teams to avoid, guys? The Cowboys look really, really stinky. Titans this week into Melbourne, Dogs, Dolphins, Dragons, Sharks. Not great. Yeah, pretty grim.
It is Melbourne without their stars in round 18 is probably one preface there.
Yeah, but we also saw the Cowboys without their stars 2 weeks ago who got 60 put on them. So it's a movable force meets unstoppable object or something like that. Just a bunch of mid.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be a mid game.
I think obviously Drinky, he's in a lot of people's teams right now. This week's a good matchup. Next week he'll be okay. You'll have a lot of ball. But then, Bulldogs into Dolphins. Funnily enough, Dolphins are a top 4 defensive team in terms of SuperCoach points conceded this year, all the way up till now. So this is accurate data as of today, which is very interesting. So Dolphins fourth least points conceded in SuperCoach this year. But obviously, when you're talking about then going into head-to-head finals from 23 to 26, they've got probably the best run possible. They've got Para, Knights, Tigers. Grand final against the Broncos, a bit tricky, but it is at home at QCB Stadium, so a little bit better than what you would expect. So for me, it's like, your Panthers, your Titans, you mentioned the Tigers. I think Melbourne have a decent run as well, 17 to 22. They've got Sharks this week who have been a bit of a rabble. They've got then the Cowboys who are a bottom 3 defensive team in round 18 on that bye. Missing their players though, of course. Then they've got the Knights in round 19 and a couple of average matchups into Parramatta and then Penrith as well. So Melbourne being the team that they are, the quality that they are, I think they're a target as well as the Raiders who are both playing some pretty good footy.
Yeah, definitely. I think pretty key. I wouldn't want to be having too many Souths guys. Wouldn't want to be having too many Sharks guys. Wouldn't want to be having too many Raiders guys either, just because their buys fall on the finals week, so 24, 25, 26. I'm not going to accommodate for round 27 because if you're playing round 27 grand final, then I don't want to associate with you. So we're not going to discuss that option at all. I guess we probably should mention why though, because I'm sure we have a lot of new players. Round 27 is historically carnage with coaches just rolling out a bunch of quick Q Cup sides.
Yeah, sorry, it's horrendous. No, it's horrendous. I remember there was a couple of years ago where like half of the players got rested. Like you've got Melbourne and Penrith basically were locked into 1 and 2. No one could beat each other. That was the end scenario. And that's what happens a lot of the time in round 27. Coaches will look at the draw and they go, can we get up to a prelim home final? Or can we get a better spot or get a home final against this team? No, we can't. Okay, cool. Let's just rest our guys. Because they don't get that grace. I
was starting Jermaine Tanua-Brown and like Albert Hopewade as like viable guys in my team.
Yeah, it's absolute chaos in round 27. It's tough, and that's what makes it so hard to win SuperCoach. I think if you're in the top 10, fuck man, it's got to be challenging to try and win from that period, knowing just the whole team could literally fall apart in round 27 and you're cooked. So another team I think we're sleeping on a little bit is the Parramatta Eels for the head-to-head finals period. If we look at their schedule, they have Cowboys, who are a bottom 3 defensive team, into Souths, who are a bottom 3 defensive team. Roosters are average, and then they've got the Warriors, who definitely have conceded a fair amount of points, into the Knights again to finish as well. So 23 to 27, I'd argue, Parramatta could have the best run to finish the year through head-to-head finals. So quite interesting, I guess, when you look at average teams, and that I guess you've got to take that into consideration as well. We haven't been able to factor in the colour coding based on the team that it's factored for versus the team against. It's just basically a key metric on SuperCoach points conceded. So Parramatta battling a little bit might make it a little bit tough to buy into that narrative somewhat.
It's going to be round 27 and Mattrix is still sitting here with Isaiah Yongi.
It will be.
Yeah. And I'm going to captain him for the first time this year. And he's going to go 120, and I'm going to beat you all. Just so you know.
So we have to eat the one level toast.
No, you have to run 6 kilometers and drink a beer for every kilometer.
Going back to I don't know what I'd struggle with more. I don't know if I'd struggle with the 6 beers or the 6Ks. Both of them I'd be fucked with.
I can get through 6 beers, no problem. But just then having to, like, and I've seen people do this. This is not the thing that we've created. I've seen people do this.
Beer miles, yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah. Oh, and you're seeing blokes that are fit chucking up just because the beer just rolls around in your stomach. So, yeah, nah.
I wouldn't be chucking up. I am an athlete.
Yeah, you are very piss fit. That's for sure. Actually, you run a bit too much for my liking as well. You'd probably handle that way better than I'd like you to.
Yeah, you guys follow me on Strava.
Yes, we do. We do. Let's move into the trade trends for this week.
Target acquired.
And trade trends brought to you by Ryan from Astute Newstead. Thankfully, the RBA have given us another rate cut, which is great news. So if your rates are above 5.65%, you want to buy your first home, you want to renovate, or just save some money like the rest of us, then Ryan is your man. He does all of the work for you behind the scenes with 40 lenders on panel, including all the major banks, to get you the best deal and help save you some cash. And the best part, there is absolutely no obligation to work with Ryan. It doesn't cost you a cent. He does it all for you. You can book your free consult via the link in the description below. Just let him know that we sent you. Let's have a chat about the most purchased players. We've talked about Karapani. We've talked about Karaz. Harry Grant is one we haven't talked about. Now, obviously, people are buying this week because there's a situation where you might have Sandon Smith and Riley Smith. What other scenarios are you looking at, Josh, in terms of why you would buy Harry Grant this week? Is that the only one? Are you keen on him as the best option for the run home regardless in this situation?
I think he's the best hooker option for the run home, but like, I wouldn't not sacrifice. I've got no interest in running double hooker. None whatsoever. I would rather make a trade a hooker than run double hooker. So if you're sitting there with like a McInnes or a Brayley or a Starling, I've got no interest in Harry Grant. If I've got a Riley and Sandon Smith double, then you're up shit creek this week. And that's probably where I would buy Grant. Because I do think he's the best hooker for the run home, but it's like, it's not Harry Grant of 2 years ago where he's averaging 80. And you're like, oh, cool, I can run him and Brayley. That's cool because he's putting up elite 2RF numbers at hooker. It's like, oh, you're like Corey Horsburgh.
So Josh,
like
I just got
he's Corey Horsburgh numbers. Like,
so Josh, I just got a text from somebody. They're running Sandon Smith and Sam Healy. Do you think that they would bring? Do you think that they should bring in Harry Grant? Mattrix.
If I'm not mistaken, this same person posted 2 rounds ago about how goated with the sauce Sam Healy was. You've given up.
Do you know what? I've been gifted the fucking flex for this moment. I don't care. I am running Sandon Smith and Sam Healy this week. I don't even care. This is what flex is for. Flexibility.
I would do Healy to... I would do... I'd do... I don't know. Like, it's...
I wouldn't. I'd just leave him. Just hooker can die for a week, and that's it.
That's what
I don't know whether I'd force a trade to get Harry Grant this week, knowing the fact that he's just played 164 minutes in like 4 days. He's had a hamstring injury he's been working through the middle of the year. There's obviously a risk he's going to get rested after Origin 3 if he didn't rest after Origin 2. It makes absolutely no sense as to why he played last week.
You know why?
Let alone, I don't get it.
Because he's a Queenslander, mate. He's been through fire. He's been through flood. He's been through drought. He's been through...
Oh, what a shame.
Don't silence me. He is a Queenslander.
I think he's built differently.
I've heard this before. I've heard that. I've heard, fuck, we just use every Origin cliche in the book in about 10 seconds there.
Whatever it is, he's always the underdog too. You know, this year, he's no longer the undisputed hooker one, so he's the underdog.
Yeah, actually, you do like being the underdog. That's fair enough. Okay, well, he's a must buy then. There you go.
And Harry Grant of years gone by is pick and stick. So like you've got to, it's got to be pick and stick this year.
I mean, look, he's cheap. He's 105k down on his starting price. People are jumping on this week. Not for me. I'm a little bit worried about the hammy and just the workload that he's going to get through, especially in Origin 3. It's a big game. I'm worried that he doesn't back up in 19. And he might be a buy in round 20, but I'm happy to wait through that period and just cop a 0 at hooker if I have to. The last thing that you need is to buy Harry Grant this week and he goes and gets injured through this workload in Origin 3 or backing up again. So,
well, you're just going to cop a 0 when you... in my situation, you're just going to cop a 0 in a week or so's time anyway. So, yeah.
I think a 0 in 18 is very different to a 0 in 17.
No,
it's the week after.
The 19.
Maybe backs up.
Yeah.
Who knows? We're just, it's all conjecture at the moment. No one knows whether he's going to back up.
I think I just copped the shit score this week and play that you've got no shitters in your 17.
Yep. Zach Lomax, very appealing for Parramatta. No Mitchell Moses, though, but it didn't really matter last week. No tries and a 90-odd last week for Lomax. He's sitting just below 700K. I think, for me, we talked a little bit about Lomax versus Val. I think it's probably Lomax topping that list. Viliami Kickau, we've already spoken at length on. Same with Lehigh Hopewadi. He's the 6th most purchased. Payne Haas. 3.9% of people in the top 10% are buying Payne Haas this week. Is for me, I don't know whether it's this week is the week to get him. Wouldn't you just try and get him in 19?
Probably. He's built differently, though.
He was not a Queenslander, though. Isn't that
but it doesn't matter. Like, honestly, like last week when I saw him go down the tunnel live at the game, you could basically hear the stadium groan. And then he comes back out and bangs out 100. Like, I mean, he must have just been drinking that Queenslander water for the last 8 years or something.
Maybe.
No, I don't know. Like, I think that you want to play him regardless, and New Zealand games are predominantly played through the middle. This could be another big game for him.
Yeah, for sure. Yellow Ducks asking where does Storm play on that round backing up, and it's at McDonald Jones in Newcastle. So not at home. So I guess another challenge there for him.
But in saying that, like Origin 3's in Sydney, so it's
closer if he's going to play.
It's now in the road.
Yeah, for sure. It's a bit like Hammer backing up in Perth. Never any risk there when you don't have to travel. Latu Fainu, obviously a popular choice. He's the 8th most purchased, but the 9th most purchased player at $878,000 is Herbie Farnworth. People are just going, I've had enough of fading him. He's gone 300s on the trot. I mean, is it now the time to get him? Do you just go, I need him in my team? Is it a matter of, I think we've seen on Twitter a few people saying like we need Herbie Farnworth this week. He's an absolute must-have. At 900K, are you buying Herbie Farnworth, Mattrix?
I'm lucky I'm not in this situation, but I wonder if the gift of Fletcher Sharp being injured, I could probably swallow the pill of him only being, 140K away from Fletcher. Oh, it's 160K. Being 160K away from Fletcher Sharp, I could swallow that pill a lot easier because I don't feel like I'm ripping my team apart for 160K. Maybe you're going down, somebody down to Karapani to go up to Herbie Farnworth. That's completely fine. And that's the only situation that I would, because like you're using 2 trades to get Herbie Farnworth, but he's been that good. And then do you vice captain him? Like, I know that that's a segue into the next one, but you kind of have to put an armband on him if you're spending 900K on a dude, right?
No, but also I'm in the I wouldn't buy camp this week personally, just because he's got a buy in 18 and a buy in 21. Like, he plays 3 of the next 5. I'd probably rather find someone who's going to play 5 of the next 5 and a gun that could match him through that period. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Like, we always talk about a player being due. He's anti-due. He's.
Whoa, Hitler.
No, we can't hear any of that. Oh, yeah. That.
Surely you can hear that.
You can.
I don't love paying. It's why, and this shows you how washed I am with this game. It's why I didn't pay 1.2 million for Turbo 3 years ago, like when he started the season. Like, it's just, I can't pay 900K for a center. I understand that he hasn't had a score below 71 since round 5, but like, I can't pay 900k. It's like it's the Gutho debate all over again.
It is the Gutho debate. Yeah, you're right. I'm thankful. I thankfully bought him, and I don't have this problem like most people. But if you're in the very, very small minority of people that don't have him, I think you can wait. I think you can wait until
He's
time
the
to-
fourth most brought in player if you filter by all coaches.
I'm more
Like,
impressed
it
by
is.
Silko. Haven't had a Herbie all season, ranked 200th. Fatal 22 must-have. I don't think he's a must-have.
You must.
You know, the worst part about this is the only thing I thought of here would be imagine where you'd be if you had him. That's probably the one thing that I think of. You could be in first if
Probably
you had
if
Herbie.
you
Yeah. That's the, anyway. That's the pessimist in me. Fletcher Sharp, most sold.
I don't think I'm happy to fade.
Yeah, me too for now. I think you're going to need him for the run home, but I think I'd get him in a month.
I also know it aged like milk, but like Dane Gagai last week, obviously not great. Campbell Graham this week is fine. He's pretty good.
Yeah, Campbell Graham's a good defender. Fletcher Sharp, most sold. Jack Bostock behind him. Hamoli Olakawatu, all injured. Riley Smith suspended for 2 weeks. So all of these guys pretty stock standard sells. Lachlan Hubner, 418k, named on the bench. Jai Arrow is named in the 13 jersey for the Rabbitohs this week. Pretty comfortable to move on now. I think for him, it might be even, if he's your 2RF6, I think it's probably nuffable at that price to get 220k and use that elsewhere in your team. And I think we're talking teams. We'll probably talk team structure next week or the week after as to what we want our ideal team structure to look like in terms of our reserves and who we want to play in what position. But I can't imagine I'm playing my 2RF6 at all, hopefully, for the next 10, 11 weeks. Maween Harodi, people are still selling him. Lawson, Jaden Campbell, people are selling him. What are your thoughts on this, Josh? JC, obviously, we touched on it a tiny bit, but not in depth. Hold or sell? Because he is, at the moment, the 8th most sold.
Yeah, I think I'm holding because of this, purely down to like when this draw opens up, it opens up quite well. Round 20 is really ideal for the Titans. It sucks. People are going to buy him cheaper. And sometimes you just have to live with that. Like, not everyone that you can sell high and buy low. Yeah. Especially at this point end of the season when, like I think I'm sitting pretty comfortable with 14 trades, and even I'm stressed because I've done my planning for the next month, and it leaves me with not 14 trades, much lower than that, and I'm worried about that for the run home. So like, if people are having less trades than me, I don't see a world where we can just rip 2 on JC. And I think we said this on Sunday. Like, I feel like if we are trading him, we're probably not buying him back, and there's not a world where I don't want him from 20 to 22 or even 20 to 25, to be honest.
Yeah, very nice draw. There's only 2 tough games, really. One hard game against a red team on that graph from 20 all the way through to 27. So,
but people are obviously trading him to Latu, right?
You'd naturally think so. But just remember, Jaden Campbell's now 564k. He's also 135k down on his starting price. So you literally bought him at the top and you're selling him at the bottom. There is no way in the world he's not. He could cover his 100 break even next game he plays pretty comfortably. So, yeah, not for me.
His lowest score of the season was 27 against when they got like absolutely trounced. Before that was round 2 against the Dogs, who were just a freak. And then it's just like a bunch of like low 50s is his worst. And like there's 1 score over 100, there's 2 scores in the 80s, 3 scores in the 80s, there's 1 score in the 90s. Like, he's been fine. Like, it's just, I don't know. Jaden Campbell's entering Dallin Watene-Lesniak levels of fraud because I can just never get him right ever.
Feels like that, doesn't it? Especially after fading him last year. Let's move on to... actually, before we do, obviously, if you want to know our thoughts on who we're buying, holding, selling, and all the in-depth conversations that we're having, you can become a subscriber. It is in the Patreon. We did a nearly 30-minute video on in-depth buy, hold, and sell there and what our thoughts are. We're also doing videos on explaining our teams and our trades every single week as well. So jump in the Patreon there. The link's in the description below. $10 a month to get full access to us and all that content. Let's move into the captains.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, Captain!
I guess we can look through at the games and look for advantageous matchups as we always do. And I think Jacob Carraz against Penrith coming up against Casey McLean and Tom Jenkins is it's a viable option. I just think that maybe there's too many good captaincy options at the back end of the week that I would rather VC a Manly player against Tigers into potentially a Drinkwater against the Titans. What are you thinking, Matty?
Exactly that.
Okay.
You've got a list of 8 people and you just read my mind. But yeah, look, I do think that I would rather a Garrick. And like so many people own Garrick. But Garrick on the wing just has that huge upside, which is like the perfect vice captain, right? And like it's not like they're sorry, no offense to you guys. It's not like they're playing a good team this week. It's been perennially pretty leaky, very up and down. Even when they show a bit of fight, they do seem to get seen out a little bit. And look, yeah, Garrick Lehigh against the Tigers does to me scream the best vice captains this week.
Josh, what are you thinking with VC start of the week? Are you going to get lured into the, do we call it the Clint Lomax Cup or do we call it the Zach Gutherson Cup?
Yeah, I'm definitely hook, line, sinker into that one. I'm really keen on, I'm not really keen, but I think at like 0.3% ownership or 0.3% choice, Gutho as a VC is like screaming to me. I understand like he's got a 3-round average of 45. But Christian Tuipulotu back. Last time he played Para 130. Like he's just one of those players that will stand up for this game. It's in Wollongong as well. Really, really keen on Gutho this week as a vice captain. Obviously got our boy, Reece Walsh. Been really, really good since he's come back. 83 and then a 90. We know historically over a decent sample size, averages 85 with Ezra Mam in the side as well. And when teams are getting quite shallow, 85 is probably enough if you don't have a bad AE. So yeah, like I'm actually keen on Gutho and Walsh as sort of VCs for the week.
Funnily enough, the Warriors, as we view them as a decent defensive team, they are at Suncorp. They don't travel as well. And the New Zealand Warriors can see the 5th most points to fullbacks this year, which I didn't expect to see when I looked at the graph. So it could be some points on offer for Walsh. He's gone 80, 81 and 90 over the last 2 weeks. He's looked pretty good with a bung knee. So if he puts it together, it could be nice.
Saturday afternoon game too. I can get behind that. That's unreal.
Bit of a day game.
I think people underestimate the value that like Haas and Carrigan provide. Getting Reynolds good ball and therefore getting Walsh good ball as well. So I think the forward pack, as good as James Fisher-Harris is, missing Mitch Barnett's not ideal. Aaron Clark's great. He'll tackle his butt off, but he's obviously doesn't have the size of a Carrigan and Haas. So even like a Wilson off the bench is just going to provide a lot. So keen. But yeah, Yellow Duck, I'm definitely on the old team narrative for Gutho.
Yeah. Love that.
It's like whether you buy into Lomax against his old team or Gutho against his old team. I would trust Gutho more because the last time he played the Eels, he scored like 130. Yeah, so he could do it again two times in a row. The Eels are better this time that they're coming
in Wollongong though. Like not even at net strategy relief. Like this is in Wollongong.
Love a Wynn Stadium game near the water. Yeah, Gutho looks like a bit of a beach boy. I reckon he'd spend his time at the beach for sure.
Well, didn't he like live in like Manly when he was captain of Para? He would like drive
all the way to Para.
Fuck that.
Yep. They just love Manly so much. Fair enough. Any love for Pappy against a shambles Sharks team this week?
Oh, if we're talking captains, we've got a couple of other options. Obviously, Pappy probably has a sour taste in people's mouths after. I'm telling you, trap games are a real thing. How many times have we seen it this year?
Mm-hmm.
If it looks like chicken, smells like chicken, tastes like chicken, it's probably beef. Like honestly, this year, it's been deceiving.
Yeah, it has
Hoodwinked,
been.
bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. You reckon South's
The
Dolphins? You reckon Sharks suck? You reckon South's Dolphins is the game to target?
Oh, mate, talk to me about Hamiso because I'm like really keen. I just like the matchup. I like the speed that Hamiso brings against quite a slow outside back line of Walker, Humphreys, AJ, Whiten, Campbell Graham. Like it's reeks of a Hamiso bursting to the middle a couple of times this game, or even just burning them on the outside. I'm really keen on Hamiso. He's like less than 0.5% owned and therefore like 0.001% captained.
Spicy. Problem is, whenever Hamiso scores, he never gets a freaking line break with it because it's always support play.
Through.
Yeah, it's always support play. The bloke's the quickest man on the field by none. So he's always the man that cleans up the scraps. Mattrix, I've given you this last 15-minute segment to talk to us about why people should be captaining Scott Drinkwater against the Titans this week.
Mate, our friend Scott Drinkbolter, you know what? If you do have dry wheat bix, you should pour Bolter on it and drink it this Sunday against the Titans. One Nathan Brain once said to me, every week when it comes to captaincy, I open the app and I look at who plays the Titans, and then I look at the fullback. And the fullback is Scott Drinkwater. Last week, he scored 73, and I didn't even know he was on the field. That was
Also,
unreal.
The Red Dog. Don't forget the Red Dog. Clifford's back, baby.
I mean, if Scott Drinkwater got married again, I don't even know if he's married. Jake Clifford would be best man, and that is a narrative in itself.
No, Jake Clifford would be the ring bearer because he's just always providing that assist.
Yeah, nice. I like that. So the scores that Drinky has when Clifford is in the team, 52, 76, 74, 78, 132, 127, 117.
Oh,
Then he was dropped.
Don't cherry pick. There is a 25 in there.
Where?
It's like around
with
12 or
Clifford.
something.
No,
Yeah, but Clifford
Clifford had a
wasn't there, was
bye.
There
Literally
is
just
one
looked
poor-
up. Hang on. I'm going to go and check now.
There is one poor score because his average is 86. There is one bad score that does bring it down.
Round 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 15. That's what it is, and I'll read them out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 15.
But did they play the Titans through any of those?
Yeah, they did. He scored
That
132.
screams up. Sign me up.
In 15, he scored 33. That's the most recent game.
Yeah. I was like, look, I'm all for the narrative, but there was a poor score. But to be fair, that was when they had no Origin players and they got humped by Isaiah Katoa. But still, even factoring in that, it's still an 86 average with Clifford, even if you put in that 33.
I think he got a HIA that game as well, and he played 67 minutes. So, yeah.
He did too. Yeah, that was that game where I was like, oh, finally.
Yeah, you had your one win as a fader. But, yeah, I think the 132 in round 8 against the Gold Coast Titans tells you anything. I think the one thing I do need to check, though, is if there's any rain, because apparently there might be a little bit of rain on the Gold Coast this weekend. So, yeah, stay tuned. Oh, there you go. Captain Harry, weather check for the game showers on the Gold Coast this weekend. So,
yeah, showers of points.
yeah,
showers of Hasmel Masri. I mean, Scott Drinkwater slot and conversions.
It's also going to be showers of left side wing conversions after Murray Talangi scores and Scott Drinkwater misses the conversion. That's what's going to be showering.
Ever seen? I genuinely think Scott Drinkwater is the worst good goal kicker I've ever seen.
Yep.
I
Like,
don't feel confident. Ever.
He's not the worst goal kicker. That's James Tedesco. But he is the worst good goal kicker.
I can agree with that. I honestly don't even buy him for his goal kicking anymore. There's just no point. It's
Whenever they score a
it's
try,
no points.
Whenever the Cowboys score a try, you just whenever Scott Drinkwater's on, you just take off 2 every time.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. To a point where he usually once a game will give up the goal kicking to someone else.
Yeah, I was about to say what I love is when he gives it up when they score out wide, and then when they score under the post, he's like, "All right, I'm back."
Yeah, I'm feeling good now. I'm up. Put me in, coach. Plenty of I guess left field captaincy options, VC options at the start of the week. Manly are the targets. We love the drinky narrative, and we can get around the Dolphins flogging the Souths this week as well. And you can get around the. Did we decide it was called the Clint Lomax Cup, or is it going to be called the Zach Gutherson Cup?
Zach
There's like
Gutherson.
a play here. There's like a play here on Gutheromax. Like there's something there.
Guthermax. That
Guthomax.
sounds kind of cool. It kind of sounds like IMAX, the big theatre.
Guthomax sounds like an adult toy.
And for those of you listening on audio right now on playback, you're going to have to come over on YouTube and just watch an episode because you just missed a Gutherino. One of the
Yeah, it
Honestly,
happens all the time.
if Mattrix didn't run as much as he did, I think he would slip a disc.
Probably. There's a lot of hip thrusting going on, a bit of hip movement, that's for sure. Guys, that'll do us. That'll wrap us up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting involved. Hit that subscribe and like button underneath. We appreciate you for watching and getting into the comments. We'll be back on Sunday to wrap up all of the games from the week just gone. We will see you then. Good luck this weekend. Catch ya.
Cheerio.